Okay, let's just dive right into this. We're looking at the Indian Ocean's hidden topography and the legendary lost land of Kumari Kandam. For generations, stories have echoed through time about this massive, sunken continent just south of India, a place swallowed by the sea, taking an ancient civilization down right along with it. But what happens when modern geology, satellite imaging, and oceanography actually go looking for it? In today's Explainer, we're strictly looking at the data to uncover what's really hiding in the deep.
So for decades, science has mapped the Indian Ocean to find a lost continent. What did they actually find? Well, that's the ultimate mystery we're unpacking today, separating the incredible geological facts from the enduring cultural myths of a sunken continent. Spoiler alert, they didn't find exactly what the myths described, but honestly, what they did find is arguably even more fascinating.
Indian ocean floor surveys, decades of scientific mapping. To get to the absolute truth here, we first have to look at the massive, decades-long scientific efforts dedicated to mapping the ocean floor.
Heavyweight scientific organizations have relentlessly scanned this region for over 60 years. They literally left no stone or underwater trench unturned. We're talking about the Scientific Committee on Oceanic Research, or SCORE, doing the initial mapping way back in the 1960s. Then NASA stepped up in the 90s with satellite surveys, shooting data right from space. All the way up to modern, recent exploration by groups like the Indian Ocean Research Group and Catlin Seaview. These aren't just surface-level glances. These are exhaustive, high-tech scans of the Earth's crust.
Underwater mountain ranges, the hidden geography of the deep. The crucial point here is, while they didn't find a lost continent, they discovered a completely hidden world of massive underwater geography right off the coast of India.
Take the Chagos-Laccadive Ridge, for example. It's basically this massive underwater coral and rock formation. Millions of years ago, as the Indian tectonic plate drifted northward, it passed over something called the Reunion Hotspot. Magma just tore up through the crust, cooling in the ocean to form these huge rock foundations. Fast forward a few millennia of corals building up, and the very tips of these underwater mountains are what we now call the Lakshadweep and Maldives island chains.
Then you have the Comoran Seamounts, an underwater mountain ridge stretching up to 400 kilometers just south of Kanyakumari. And here's the crazy part. During ancient times, parts of this colossal 400-kilometer ridge would have actually been visible above the water. It's a vital clue about what early humans might have actually seen and experienced thousands of years ago.
And to truly grasp the scale of nature we're dealing with, just think about the number 5,000. The 90 East Ridge is a staggering 5,000 kilometers long. It's an underwater mountain range sitting right on a tectonic fault line in the Bay of Bengal. It was formed by magma leaking out right where the Indian and Australian tectonic plates meet. 5,000 kilometers. The sheer geological violence and beauty required to create a mountain range that massive, entirely underwater, is just mind-blowing.
Kumari Kandam, Science and Truth, confronting the Lemuria myth. Right, so with all this incredible topography mapped out, we really have to address the elephant in the room, the legend of the Lemuria continent.
We've got to be completely objective here. The myth claims there's a massive sunken continent named Lemuria south of India. The scientific reality? A continent-sized landmass simply does not exist in the geological record there. However, the concept of sunken lands isn't totally fiction. Off the coast of Southeast Asia, a massive area called the Sunda Shelf did actually sink. So the phenomenon of sinking land is 100% real, even if the specific location of the Lemuria myth isn't. The Ice Age and lower sea levels, Earth's shifting climate. But don't be disappointed, because the plot twist here is that the myth of a sunken land is actually rooted in very real, very dramatic climate shifts from the Ice Age.
Just imagine a world where the ocean was up to 135 meters lower than it is today. 135 meters. That kind of drastic drop completely changes the shape of the continents, exposing lands that are currently hidden deep beneath the waves.
During the Ice Age, massive 2-kilometer-thick ice sheets locked up the world's water. Think about that. Sheets of ice literally 2 kilometers high. Because all that water was sucked up and frozen solid, the oceans physically shrank. For the Indian subcontinent, this meant the beaches didn't end where they do now. Ancient coastlines actually expanded outward by an astonishing 200 to 300 kilometers. Lands that are now 100 meters underwater were dry, walkable, and habitable.
The geological history of Sri Lanka's separation. An ocean rises. This extreme drop in sea level completely rewrote the map of the Indian subcontinent as our ancestors knew it.
If we track the timeline, about 19,000 years ago, right at the peak of the Ice Age, vast lands were exposed. Sri Lanka wasn't an island at all. It was directly connected to India. But around 12,000 BC, the Earth began to warm. The ice melts, sea levels begin rising, and eventually, by 7,000 BC, Sri Lanka officially separates from India. It was a slow, relentless 5,000-year geographic shift.
The submerged land and ancient Tamil memories, myth born from reality. And honestly, this timeline perfectly explains the true origins behind the enduring Tamil legends of a swallowed civilization.
You see, Kumari Nadu wasn't a lost continent. It was a very real 200-kilometer extended coastal landmass that was slowly swallowed by rising seas over 5,000 years. It didn't just sink in a day. Imagine generations of people living on this land, having to slowly abandon their coastal villages, moving further and further inland over centuries as the ocean continuously claimed their homes.
This is the real mind-blower. The traumatic submersion of Kumari Nadu was passed down through ancient race memories and permanently recorded in Sangam literature. These early people didn't have satellite maps to understand global warming. They just knew the sea was eating their world. They passed this trauma down through oral traditions, transforming a terrifying real-world geological flood into the epic poetry and legends that survived through millennia.
So it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How much of our ancient mythology is actually just forgotten science and history? What other hidden truths are waiting to be decoded from our ancestors' stories? Today, we've seen that the myth of Kumari Kandam isn't a lie. It's a perfectly preserved geological memory of the end of the Ice Age. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning what you think you know.